Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we find the hidden stories in those mountains of corporate paperwork. Today we're looking at American Strategic Investment Company, and let's just say their latest report is less about breaking news and more about a slight schedule change. Stick around to see what that little adjustment might mean. And before we dive in, if you like breaking down these complex financial reports into plain English, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Also, we've got a fantastic community over on Discord, linked in the description below, where we chat about all things corporate finance. So, American Strategic Investment Company, or ASIC as we'll call them, has filed an 8K form. Think of an 8K as a current report and official heads up to investors when something significant happens. In this case, the big news isn't a groundbreaking business move, but rather a shift in their schedule. The big announcement here is that ASIC has rescheduled their third quarter 2025 earnings release. Originally planned for sometime soon, they're now pushing it back to Friday, the 14th of November 2025. This means they will announce their financial results for the third quarter before the market opens on that day. Now, why would a company reschedule an earnings release? Usually, it's because they need a little more time to finalize their financials, or perhaps they want to avoid overlapping with another major event. Sometimes it could hint that the results might not be as rosy as expected, and they're giving themselves a bit more breathing room to frame the narrative. Along with the rescheduled earnings release, ASIC will also have a webcast and conference call on the 14th of November. This is where management will talk about the results and give some color on how the business is doing. It is always a good idea to listen in on these calls for direct insights from the leadership team. Looking at the details of the company's listed securities, ASIC has Class A common stock trading on the New York Stock Exchange. This is the bread and butter of most public companies, representing ownership in the company. They also have something called Class A preferred stock purchase rights. These are essentially financial instruments that give holders the right to buy a company's preferred stock at a certain price. They're often used as a poison pill defense mechanism to prevent hostile takeovers, making it more expensive for an unfriendly party to acquire a controlling stake in the company. It is a bit of defensive financial engineering. The company is checking the box for not being an emerging growth company. This means they are past the initial phase of going public and are expected to follow the full reporting requirements for established businesses. Now, let's be honest, this filing is quite short and primarily focuses on a date change. There are no detailed financial tables in this particular report that we can dig into and analyze for performance trends. This 8K is more of an administrative update rather than a deep financial disclosure. However, the fact that they rescheduled their earnings release is the most significant piece of information here. Companies typically aim for predictability. When they shift an earnings date, especially for a routine quarterly report, it can signal a few things. Perhaps there were internal accounting complexities that required more time than anticipated, or they might be waiting for more complete information to incorporate into their report. It could also be a strategic move to avoid competing for investor attention with other major corporate news happening around the same time. Given that this is an 8K and not a more detailed filing like a 10Q, we don't have the numbers to crunch in terms of revenue, profit, or debt. We are therefore limited to interpreting the implications of this rescheduling. In the grand scheme of things, a simple date change might seem minor, but in the world of corporate finance, it can be a subtle signal. We have to look at what this might mean for the underlying business. What does this tell us about American Strategic Investment Company as a company? Well, on its own, this filing doesn't give us much to go on regarding their financial health or strategic direction. We know they have common stock and some form of shareholder rights protection in place, and they are listed on the New York Stock Exchange. The primary takeaway is that they had to adjust their reporting schedule. For us as investors or observers, this rescheduling prompts us to pay closer attention to the upcoming earnings call. We'll want to see how they explain the delay and, of course, what the actual financial results reveal. If the results are strong, the delay might have been purely administrative. If the results are weaker than expected, the delay could have been to manage the announcement carefully, without seeing the actual financial statements from the delayed earnings release. It is hard to assess the company's direction from this filing alone. We're essentially looking at a company that is managing its public disclosures. The key risk here is that the market might interpret this delay negatively, anticipating less than ideal results, which could put some pressure on their stock. The opportunity, of course, is if the delay allows them to present a cleaner, more accurate picture that ultimately reassures investors. To sum it up, American Strategic Investment Company has made a minor procedural adjustment by rescheduling their earnings release. This filing itself does not provide a financial story, but the reschedule is a story in itself, urging us to wait for more information and to be ready to analyze their upcoming financial report with a keen eye. Alright, that is our quick decode of this ASIC filing. What is your take on companies rescheduling earnings? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more corporate insights. And don't forget to join our Discord community for more discussions. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.